Here comes the Nastygram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nastygram RPG podcast. This is the Boston Masquerade, Chapter 18, Epilogue.
Feeling it too hard is the poison to the heart of a cynic.
Hey, this is Jake, and I'm kind of your storyteller, but not really. I'm done.
And this is Matt as Javi Morales, the really safe Ventru cleaner.
Hey everyone, Dan here playing Quintus Lazar, the Tremere, and Theodora, and Sergei, and the Prince of Boston.
Hey guys, it's John. I'm playing Z, the Bruja who needs to go back to the range.
Hey, it's Ryan. I'll be Ethan Crane, the Ventru Fencer.
This is Josh playing Larry Murphy, the blade-swinging, skydiving possum papa.
Love it.
And yes, Johnny's fine from all that.
He's fine. He's fine.
All right, and just to let you guys know, we're doing sort of epilogues for all the characters. So I've told everyone I'll participate in your scenes, but I'm kind of taking a back seat. I'm the secondary storyteller tonight, and they're all going to kind of take the reins in narrating what's happening. So we got a bunch of kind of scenes about where our coterie ends up.
And to be clear, the banner's up. Mission success,
We did
right?
it. We did it.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Boom.
But what does that look like? So let's do it. Stretching down Congress Street, we see a line of excited people waiting. At the front of the line, we see a sign for kin. Past the front door, along the walls of the hallway, we see the word repeated in hundreds of different languages. At the end of the hall, past the sliding rice paper door, we see a busy dance floor. On the stage at the center of the dance floor, we see Santiago. His skin sparkles as it reflects the stage light, and he dances and sings. Past the dance floor is a street sign that says Subway, pointing to a staircase that leads into the basement. Down the steps, Santiago's melodic pop is drowned out by screaming punk music. The crowd of anarchs and humans dance on the converted subway platform as the band screams. Above them, on the third floor, the scene is quiet. Soft jazz music plays as well-dressed patrons mingle. We see a vampire led off to a private room by a blood doll. They pass the door to a conference room. Inside, we see Alexander and Larry.
Larry takes a couple steps forward. He walks over to the side, reaches behind the counter, grabs a broadsword, holding it down, walks towards Alexander, and he lays it down at his feet. He says, Alexander, this belonged to Mr. Boyle, and I took it up as best as I could when things made me the primogen and in the fight with Fiona. But it's not my place. I believe more than I ever have in what this city can be and in the Camarilla. But I don't want to serve to represent a clan, and I don't think I've earned that. I would offer my services to the city, to you, Alexander. If there's any way I can help keep what we've made here.
He nods. We could use a lot of help, Larry. We're going to need all of you. Anarchs and Camarilla living together. This virus still worse now. Ever since that night, there's been more and more cases of it popping up. We need to make sure it's contained. We need to make sure that the masquerade is contained. I could use your help doing that.
If I can help, I will.
I had an unofficial role with Fiona. She never made it official. She never gave me the power, but in all but name, I was her sheriff. Most other Camarilla cities have one of these. If you won't be a primogen, I'd like you to take that role.
Sheriff? Like the police?
Yes. Enforcer of the traditions. Keeper of the peace.
I didn't ever want all these things to unfold. But what Mr. Boyle put into motion, and even everything Z did, the city will be hard now, but the Bruja and the Gangrel, they could make us stronger. We could work together for more. That's a title you think I can hold, and I will take it on.
He nods. We've got a lot of work to do.
Alexander? Can I make a deputy?
A little badge on him.
Up above on the 5th floor, we see Javier. Javier, talking to your sire. That scene?
Yeah.
What happens?
The light wall that normally shows the bamboo forest is transformed into a video screen, and on the screen you see a late 30s Japanese woman. From underneath her kimono, you can see that there is a very intricate layer of tattoos. You can see outlines of koi fish and dragons underneath her robes. And as the image comes into focus, Javi places his palms together and bows very low. Okusan. Things didn't go quite to plan, but he's a step. The warrior prince. She's gone. The other strong ones, they fell too. Soon will be the time. I think the steps for you to bring some people over will be good. The chaos and make a good cover. We can get a foothold in the city.
Am I playing this character?
You're
looking over at me.
I'm mostly just trying to think of what
Cool.
what she would say.
I can take it.
Yeah, if you want.
She nods. She says, "We've heard about Sean Clark and what he's planning. This is good. Stay close to him."
See? This is gonna be the easy part, I think. He owes much to me.
You're right, Boston is in chaos.
See?
I think it's time to send some of our people. They'll be under your control.
Gracias, Okusan.
She bows.
Javi returns the bow. Turns the video screen off back to the bamboo forest with the rising sun. He sits down with his back next to it and feels the warmth, and a smile breaks over his face.
Triad moving to Boston.
Dan, where is Quintus?
He is outside.
Please read the bold parts. Sorry.
Yep. That's where we start. Nailed it.
It's in bold.
You should start at subject
Scene with Touchstone.
Yep.
Please read the bullet points.
Yep, perfect. All right, let me bring it up.
Always,
Make sure you say
always
the email out loud.
fucking giving instructions to the GMs.
That's what Jake does for me.
Do you need someone to read the scene directions?
Actually, you know what?
will that
It
be
was
clear?
for Devin,
Andrew
but
stays
someone
watch.
didn't
Yeah,
show
yeah.
up tonight.
Dan, are you going to adjust any of this based on having a 4 humanity?
I mean, I'd have to rewrite it
It's improvised, yeah.
All right.
because I probably should.
You got to go off script.
I don't know.
Improv. That's what we
Do
do.
you want to just roleplay it?
You can respond differently if you want. Quintus sits in the bright and sterile waiting room of Stem Cell Express. He glances at a camera by the ceiling and wonders if anyone will know who he is, if a report will make it to Mr. Clark's desk that Quintus Lazar still haunts this place. He can hear quiet voices talking down the hall behind a closed door. He knows that Adeline is finishing her blood donation. He waits, tries to sit casually, and when she walks around the corner, feigns a mild surprise to see her. Ah, bonjour, Adeline. You look well. It is good to see you.
She looks a little startled. She says, Quintus, it's good to see you. But she backs up a step. There's something about Quintus that has changed.
Your dedication to giving is most generous. I am sure you are helping many.
It's not much. You do the same, right? Right?
I am not here to give, sadly. I am here to take.
She swallows. And says, I'm sorry to hear that. Are you okay?
I'm afraid not. I suffer from a rare kind of anemia. Quintus stands. I finished my transfusion. I was waiting until I felt steady to walk. May I see you out?
She hesitates.
Please.
Certainly.
They walk in silence down the hall. Quintus holds the door open for her, out into the cold night of November. He stands there in black loafers, loose trousers, and a short-sleeved black button-down shirt. He doesn't feel the cold. And he says, Adeline, I am dying. Right now I use this lab, its resources, and its blood like yours, to stay alive. Would it not be better if I died? No longer a drain on this institution, no longer taking life-saving resources for myself endlessly?
I'm sure you're worth saving. You have to have hope. Maybe you'll find a cure. She places a hand on your shoulder and gives you a squeeze.
Quintus looks at her hand, then back up to her. He smiles a little sadly. Yes, perhaps you are right. Maybe they will find a cure. We see Adeline say goodbye, walk down the sidewalk, and get into a white sedan and drive off into the night. Quintus stands there by the building watching until the taillights disappear. I think Quintus feels a little lighter for having spoken to her, a little more optimistic, even if she didn't really have the same feelings. He thinks now about the final sequencing for his latest trial of the vaccine. He's probably done. And he was going to wait until the next night, but I think with this sort of sense of hope, he's going to go back to the lab and see how the trial is done.
Oh yeah, you're fucking dead if you can't cure this. Because you can't feed on anybody now.
Correct.
At this point, you are mechanically probably at blood potency 4 permanently. Yes, so there's very few options out there in the world.
Any Methuselahs are all lying around?
Mm-hmm. Your days are numbered.
Doing great.
On a little lighter
Have
note,
fun. And,
Ethan,
yes.
At least it's nice.
you had a business plan.
I did. I invited, I told, he doesn't know this yet, but Z gets a text to to bring
Emergency contact.
to come with any of his
911.
yeah
Yeah, like
on
very
his
important.
pager any of his hacker friends from the Anarchs. I'll have Poppy will be there as well.
Sure.
For guidance, but I have a business venture that I'm interested in.
At the boardroom
Boardroom
of kin.
of Kin.
Hey, Ethan. Yeah, it's Z comes in, followed by Chaotic. You said this is an emergency?
It's an emergency business venture.
He sees his eyes trace over to the PowerPoint, which has like the first
I think
screen
the
on
PowerPoint has a logo on it.
It does. It does have a logo on it.
there. No.
Nice.
Which I'm going to.
You're gonna share.
I'm going to share with you all
Okay.
right now.
Last one.
Z says, "Fuck." All right, and he sits down. This better be good, Ethan.
You should have known it was not going to be something simple with this one, huh?
I know. I should never respond to his emergency texts.
Gracias for coming. It means a lot to him.
Yeah.
To us.
Did you make this?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Let me see.
Nice.
He improved on it.
Oh shit! I guess I know somebody who's helping out with the fucking art from now on.
Amazing.
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans.
So, OnlyFans, but for vampires. Z rolls his eyes.
Well, I mean, just watch the whole back. Nice. Not just vampires. Vampires and vampire-affiliated individuals.
Okay.
There's a lot of, especially since those movies came out a while back, there's a lot of, like, you know, people who are really, like, weirdly into vampires.
Yeah.
So just think of this as like a recruiting.
Isn't this
Brand.
like a major masquerade breach, Ethan?
That's why I brought you guys here, so we can work through this.
I know what you're asking. You basically want a dark web for vampire porn.
That's absolutely right. OnlyFans is a legit website for people who have, you know, a vampire kink.
Website, yeah.
It's for people who it's for kinks, but on the underbelly of it, that's where we prey.
So, you want me to stand up basically a private internet that is only accessible by vampires and those who have access to it, for vampire porn.
See, I told him you would understand.
So again, vampire porn is only that's the surface layer. We're on the underbelly of this.
Underbelly. Okay.
Chaotic says there's a lot of vampire porn. He shows you his
Thank
phone.
you, yes.
He just
Yeah.
Googled vampire porn and he's like, I mean, it's out there.
I guess.
It looks legit, right? On the surface, the message boards. I don't know. This is. I'm the idea guy here. All right.
You are the idea guy, Ethan.
Just trying to pitch this, and I'm hoping that you and Chaotic, is that it?
You know, it's,
All right. I like this guy. Are you into vampire porn? You don't have to tell me. It's cool. Either way, it's cool.
Z just shakes his head. Well, so percentages.
I think we fade
That's a
out from
great-
there. Z
Yeah.
meeting with your sire Alex.
Yeah. Or Jackal.
You want to do that one first?
There's the one with Jackal that leads into that.
Oh, I misunderstood your email. I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying? Like a
Accidentally deleted your email.
well, fuck you.
Scene 1.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I had him backwards. That's fine. That's okay. Okay,
All right.
go.
We see
Later that night, probably.
Yeah, later that night. We see Z pull up to a house outside of Manchester, New Hampshire. He pulls off his motorcycle helmet and heads towards the basement door. Jackal is inside, pacing back and forth, looking like that one cheetah at the zoo with the enclosure that seems far too small to contain them. You called? What's this about?
Come in. Close the door. You're sure no one followed you? You're
Yeah.
sure? Take your battery out of your phone.
Okay. He does so.
He checks the windows.
What is it?
Remember when we busted out of that mall?
Yeah.
That fucking cop was infected.
Fuck. Okay. All right. And,
I'm starting to feel it. I mean, I nearly killed someone last night, and I don't feel. I feel hungry.
right. Well, you know what Alexander wants.
Look, you know that fucking Clark has the cure. They've been working on it for months. He's got that Tremere up in that laboratory. Look, they're holding out on us. You know they've got it in there. They're just trying to keep it away from the Anarchs. Do you know how many of us got infected that night?
I know. I know. And you're probably right. But, the prince, you know, the best way, we put you to sleep. You get staked until there's a cure.
Put me to fucking sleep. I'm not a fucking dog.
Look, Jackal, there's no other way.
Yes, there is. Look, you can get into their systems. You can get me into that laboratory. Turn off their security. Get me in. I'll find that cure.
Jackal, you need to think sense. This peace that we've garnered between the Anarchs and the Camarilla, it will be broken. They'll know for sure who did this. And if there's no cure, it'll be for nothing. Please, there's only one way to go about this. You don't want to hurt anyone. I know you.
You're already sounding like Alexander. Like a fucking lapdog. He turns to leave.
In an instant, Z is on him, wrestles him to the ground with supernatural strength, a stake already in his hand, traveling towards Jackal's heart.
Fucking traitor.
Struggle doesn't last long. The stake strikes true and Jackal's body falls limp. This is for your own good. Earlier that night, Z and Alexander meet in the basement of Kin. Alexander hands Z a draft of might and explains to him. Might as well roleplay it.
Sure. Alexander hands you this vial, and he says, "We can't let this get out of control, Z. We need to control it. I'm not her, though. I'm going to give everyone a chance. Anyone who's infected can willingly turn themselves in. We'll put them somewhere safe. We'll put them into torpor until Clark gets a cure."
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, if we let them do their own thing, so many of those Anarchs, so many of my people.
It's not fair. There's mostly Anarchs that night. Any of them stupid enough to feed off the police. But I'm giving them all a chance. But I have to be strict. I have to be. Anyone who doesn't turn themselves in, I'll have to send someone else to deal with them. They have two options. They take the stake and they wait for a cure, or they get the final death.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Clark better come through with that fucking cure. All right. I'll keep the peace. Best I can.
I know you can talk some sense into them.
Thanks, Alexander.
All right.
That's hardcore. You just staked your sire.
Wow. Yep.
In a way, it was a mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give him the shh.
Give him the shh. Oh, no, shh.
Josh.
Yeah.
Are Tell me about our funeral scene.
For Mr. Boyle. Okay. We are in the water treatment facility, Deer Island, Boston. Somewhere Mr. Boyle liked to come. Actually, unknown to almost all, but his haven was near here. He knew it was the lifeblood of the city for those that lived on the surface. And the tunnels that went throughout the city were his walkways. And the prince sent out word to anyone who wished to come. And whoever answered the invite is there. There's kind of this open channel of water going out into the treatment plant, and then the pipes bring it back in. There's the sterile smell of chemicals in the air. And Larry is standing there with small pine box. And he looks out. He nods over to Madame Camilla, the new primogen of one of the Nosferatu.
There's a few more Nosferatu as well. Okay. A few of the Anarch Nosferatu have rejoined the Camarilla. And there's even been talk that others may be moving into the city. Suddenly, the population of Kindred has grown. Not everyone here is a Camarilla either. Some of the Anarchs have come to pay their respects. Or to, if not pay their respects, make sure that it's true. So there's a lot of people here, a lot of kindred.
Larry looks around. Are all you guys there?
Yep, Z's there.
Javi's there in a white suit with a black dahlia in his chest pocket.
He kind of nods appreciatively at each of you one at a time, and then he steps forward onto the raised lip in front of this open channel of water, clears his throat, and there's a little scurry, and a possum runs up, nestles onto his shoulder. He seems to breathe a little easier. He says, "The prince has asked me to say something for my sire, Mr. Boyle. Mr. Boyle did something. He took an action that put this city at risk, that put all kindred at risk. But the risk was already there, and the city was stagnating. And in the end, when it was time to pay the price, Mr. Boyle gave his existence to see it through. Mr. Boyle is not unlike all of us. What are we? We're monsters. We're predators. And we will only exist if we work together, because the greater threat will always be beyond these circles. Our kind will always have a selfish interest. But if we balance that against making us stronger as a whole, Mr. Boyle knew, he said to me once that no matter what his ambitions were, the strength of the Camarilla are the clans. And now there are 2 more in the city. Whatever we make of this, for better, for worse, in a way we owe it to him." He kind of stops talking and looks down at the box in his hand, takes a step forward, opens it, see ashes fall into this water, rushing out towards these treatment terminals, the water pumping back into the city. He stands up and he looks around. He says, "This is our Boston now. I think we should make the best of it."
Love that dirty water plays in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Quintus is there at the bottom of the stairs when you kind of step off. Larry, they were good words, despite the man's actions.
Sometimes it's not just the intent, but the ends that matter. We've all done things that we thought we had a reason to do.
Quintus looks at you levelly in the eye. He says, "You are healthy? You have taken a test, yes?
Yes,
Good. It is important. It spreads now, even as we speak.
are you close?
I hope so, Larry. I hope so." He kind of pats you on the shoulder and turns back into the crowd.
Poppy, a white suit at a funeral? Is that like something I don't know about? Because I mean,
No, I had the black flower.
I have the Ethan's wearing like a black suit with
Opposite.
a collar. Yeah,
It's the black is for the respect, huh? What he did, I had no respect for.
all right.
I have respect for Larry, though. That's why I showed up. You'll learn.
Larry walks towards the two of you, the two Ventru. He reaches into his satchel and he pulls out the kin jacket. And he says, I have a new role in the city now. Things are different. I'd ask if you could keep this at kin. Maybe I can wear it when I come.
See? As they say, we could put it in the rafters for you.
Yeah, man, it's your jacket, so you do what you want with it. Did you get the T-shirt I sent you, by the way?
Only fangs?
No, it's a new one. Check this out. So so it says did you see it yet? Because
Yes.
it says Possum Posse on it, and then there's a possum, but on the back of the possum, instead of baby possums, because I couldn't do that in the picture I sent. There's like caricatures of all our faces.
So disturbing.
Yeah. So just imagine that.
Larry smiles and he says, we might not be a coterie anymore, but to me, we're still family.
See?
He looks over at Z, maybe standing off to the side.
Yeah.
Always Larry.
I'd hold on to that jacket though, just in case.
Okay. I'll see you around, Javi, Ethan.
Come out of the way. Be easy.
I guess Larry walks over to Z. I don't mean to make the rounds, but I figure
That's fine.
Make the rounds.
You're the mourner.
Larry, you wiggled your way out of Primogen, huh?
it was never right for me. Maybe this will be.
I think Sheriff suits you.
I don't know. But in service of Alexander, you were right about him. He was the right one.
I hope
You guys look over at Alexander. You see that he's standing with Mary, and the two of them are watching the two of you. You realize that, Z has sort of taken on a similar role, yet as the Anarch equivalent of the sort of the Anarch equivalent of the Enforcer.
Yeah.
There's things that I've been asked to do, Z.
Yeah, I know. I at least hope we can talk about it and figure it out. And if it comes to it, fuck, I'll help you.
Only the ones that you tell me are too far gone.
Yeah.
He puts his hand out to you.
Shakes it.
Too far gone. And then we see Quintus.
He's cool. He's off by himself,
Quintus,
just
wanna
talking
talk
with
to
the
him?
voices in his head.
He's the guy who smiles when he's talking to you, and then as soon as you turn, smile just drops immediately.
Quintus, you see Leonidas looking at you. You know that he's looking at your aura. You know that your aura, it's not even veins of black anymore. It's
Black
pure.
is the color of your energy.
But also, it's almost overwhelming to look at.
I hold his gaze.
You have, as weak as you are also in some ways one of the most powerful kindred in the city at the moment. Like the blood potency of 4 is fucking ridiculous. It's very high. And he kind of just shakes his head and then turns and walks away.
Quintus looks across the kind of the gathering of vampires, hungry.
Larry says, maybe in closing, he looks at Z one more time, and his head swivels over and looks at Quintus standing off on the side. He says, let's hope these things don't happen too much.
Z follows his gaze over to Quintus and says, yeah, I wouldn't want to. Yeah.
Javi.
See?
Clark walks past you, stops, doesn't even look at you. And he says, I heard they had a falling out. The Tremere.
See? One side didn't keep their promise.
Yeah, but he's going to try to appease him. He's going to do whatever he can to get back on his good side.
I can take care of that.
He nods and walks away. Ethan. Sometime later, you are doing what exactly?
So I, as part of my deal with the Anarchs, I offered to help them find housing in the city.
Okay.
So I did own a large swatch of the 10 Hills neighborhood. As part of a speculation.
as one does.
Yeah. I was just, speculating on it. It didn't pan out. So, but maybe I was thinking maybe one Anarch was not want to go back to somewhere where he felt more comfortable. So I'm gonna help him find a house.
Okay. You're with Mary.
Yeah.
She's in charge of the Anarchs. Yeah. She left her baseball bat at home.
She keeps it everywhere.
I gotta ask, is that always been your baseball bat, or is that like a Red Sox game used bat from?
I mean, they're not that durable. They break pretty easily. I've gone through quite a few over the years.
Okay. Fair point.
I do keep one that's lined in silver, though, just in case.
That's a little too heavy for game use. Yeah. You ever you play lacrosse?
No.
Wamsutta plays from way back.
Literally invented it.
Yeah, invented the game.
That's kind of like hockey, right? But more violent?
I mean, it depends on how you play. With me, yeah.
I'm listening.
But yeah, I mean, my friend Bob has a place in Foxborough that he said I could use at night. So we're gonna get together a little late night lax league. I thought maybe you and some of your Anarchs might be interested. Just think about it. It's just an idea.
So what are we looking at here?
Well, we got a few places in Dorchester. I know it's not quite, it's closer to it's. I mean, 10 Hills is really nice, right? It's up, up near Assembly Row, great neighborhood. It's not for everyone though. So I talked to the realtor on this. I made a really good finance real estate roll. Roll it. So I think I think the bones are good here. It's going to take a little work, which I can manage.
I like that. And took your advice, talked to Alexander about Encore. He's given it as a hunting ground to the Anarchs.
I hate that place. I'm so excited for you.
I like what you did with the basement of Kin, too.
You like that?
Hard to give that guy who punched you in the face a job as a bartender.
I respect that.
What's up with the kid you got managing that place? You gonna make her a vampire?
Maybe one day.
All right, well, let's look. This place has got way too many windows, first of all. You guys start walking around the property.
They're all north facing though. Check it out. No, most of the windows are north facing. It's what you want to look for. Now's my sunlight coming in them.
All right. Love it. Z.
Yeah.
Do I have to do anything here?
No.
Okay.
You're fine. You see Chaotic and Z lay on the couch. An episode of the Castlevania animated series plays in the background. I wasn't given a choice, Kay. Jackal made me into a kindred without caring whether I wanted to or not. He needed me to have skin in the game, so I would help him, so he took my life away. Even so, he was my sire and partner in all of this for the past 20 years. Now he's asleep for however long, and now I'm asking if you want to join me in on death. I know you've wanted it and have asked me for it, and I've always said no. It's different now. So much is at stake, and I'm barely holding on as it is. Mary already gave me the green light, so, you still want it? Chaotic gives Chaotic gives Z a nod and pulls him closer. Z nods back to him as they lock eyes for a moment. Z leans in and his teeth sink into Chaotic's neck as his body is drained of blood. Chaotic's eyes now lay open, staring at nothing. Z bites his own wrist, letting his blood flow into Chaotic's mouth. After a few moments, Chaotic's eyes twitch, slowly coming back into focus. There, this part is gonna suck. Let's find you something to eat. A few days later, we see Z and Chaotic walking through a cemetery. They stop at a headstone that reads, Ezra Victor Cruz, 1984 to 2023. There are flowers and candles all around the grave, fresh dug earth breaking the manicured grass around it. Z sighs and says, Come on, we're going to be late for the Elysium. Can't keep the prince waiting.
Gay.
He's gonna kill
Wicked.
Aw. He got a little guy.
That was cute.
Yeah.
And he killed himself.
Love it. Literally.
Literally.
Showed him your grave?
Well, he now has a grave.
Oh.
Mama Cruz is not going to be, it's going to be pretty miserable.
Yeah.
Aw.
Killed himself.
Yep.
Larry. Been looking forward to this one. I don't know what you got planned.
Stretching out for this one.
Oh.
So I had something in mind for this, but you gave him a job at Kin, so we see a camera pans down, we hear footsteps slapping on wet concrete. An alleyway between two buildings, dark. We see a man running, sprinting down, looking back over his shoulder. As we get closer, we see there's blood all over his mouth. He's wearing a sleeveless leather jacket, jeans, combat boots, a mohawk kind of tangled with sweat over his head. And he runs, sprinting down the alley. All of a sudden, shapes move out of the darkness. A dozen dogs stand, growl, their hackles up. The man pulls back to a stop, then reaches down, grabs his crowbar, starts to step forward. He pulls it back, and suddenly it's wrenched out of his hand. It flies clattering down the alleyway. He turns in a panic and then looks to the side through a door. He puts his shoulder into it once, twice. It flies open. He runs into a warehouse, looking over his shoulder, racing, gets through a door, slams it shut behind him, throws a 2x4 onto the blocks in front of it, backs away panting. Then we hear scurrying and scattering. Shapes start to move up out of the darkness as a swarm of rats come up and descend. 100 rats chewing through this 2x4. The man's eyes wide. The 2x4 starts to shatter, and then the door blasts open. There's nothing in the doorway in front of him. The man reaches forward, swings wildly at nothing. And then from the darkness to the side of him, there's a flash of movement. The man is struck, falls to the ground, bleeding. Looks up, and out of the darkness steps Larry, his familiar coveralls. He takes a couple steps forward. The man tries to rise. He kicks him squarely in the jaw. He flies back. His head cracks against the brick ground. He shakes his head, seeing stars. Tries to rise again. Larry drops down, a knee heavily on his chest. Reaches towards his side. The man's eyes go down. See a stake. Should have listened to Z, taken the deal. You see Larry's hand move past the stake and draw a blade. He pulls it, and then a flash of movement. He cuts once, twice, reaches in and rips his heart out. The figure falls to dust. You hear a possum cry from the corner.
Sick.
I want Larry to have like a sheriff's badge.
With a picture of a possum on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A star with a possum in the middle. Next sticker.
Javier.
It's what I always wanted, Larry, to become a horror
Monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boogeyman. Don't eat your vampires, or you'll end up, Javier.
See?
You make your way into Trinity Church. There's construction tape, caution tape everywhere. The hole in the ceiling is barely patched up. There's still piles of rubble on the ground. And Leonidas is there, sitting in one of the pews that he's, straightened out. As you come in, he turns to greet you. Javier, did you bring the book?
See?
He reaches out and takes the journal from you and starts looking over it. It's amazing. I've seen copies, but this looks handwritten. This might be the original. I don't know how he got it. Javier, this is everything we need. Everything we need for the path of Golconda. He sits down on one of the church pews.
Well, happy for you.
He's looking down at the book, flipping through it.
As he's sitting down engrossed in the book, Javier is walking behind the pew behind him, and you see him reach into his coat pocket, and he pulls out the stake that Leonidas gave him to use on the prince. I'm glad that I could be of use to you. I think
Will be a challenging path, but it will be rewarding.
I agree. I think this Golconda is gonna be useful one day. Though I do think I'm sorry, Leonidas, for the way, and Javi will look around at the church. I'm sorry the way that this went down. It brings me no joy to see the chaos that's fallen over this city.
It's unfortunate that things couldn't have been different. I agree. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done now.
See?
And it's important that everyone be given that opportunity, yes? Quintus is close to a cure.
Very. See, I talked to my...
He's still looking at the book even as he talks to you.
I talked to Tio. He said maybe another couple of weeks and things will be done. I do feel bad for the way I couldn't keep my promise to you, though. For not keeping Quintus on that path. But I think in the end, things worked out as good as they could, yeah?
He nods, still not facing you.
It's an interesting thing when you brought up this Golconda. This path for humanity, huh? I think those who have had opportunities for power, for growth, I think it makes sense. One day I hope it makes sense for me. And as he says that, Javier takes the stake and drives it into Leonidas's back.
God damn.
His body goes rigid, and you just see a drop of blood hit the page of the journal. A tear. And then he falls to the side, paralyzed.
Javi will pull out his phone and send a text to Sean Clark. It's done. The body's in the church.
As this is happening, up on the balcony where the organ player would be, we see a young boy step out of the shadow. Sebastian, the Malkavian. He shakes his head disapprovingly. Then he steps back into darkness. Josh, we're going to do that scene with Burke now.
Okay. You want me to take it away?
Sure.
Okay.
Take it away.
All right.
That's some Cole shit, by the way, man. Cole.
Yeah,
fuck
ice cold.
Cole.
Poor Leonidas.
You see a very well-appointed office. Mahogany, leather, art, statues, books lining the walls.
Whales' vaginas.
Whales' vaginas. There's about a dozen figures seated around the room, most of them holding wine glasses, dark red liquid in them.
Baby blood.
Turning from the fire as he sets his cane down on the... What do you call the thing in front of the little
The hearth?
brick
Mantelpiece?
heart? Sets the cane down on the against the hearth with a click. Kingsley Burke turns and faces his audience. Well, you must be wondering why I've gathered you here. Perhaps you've put it together. I'm sure you've all heard of the events happening in good old Boston to our north. A lot of moving and shaking in that city. A lot of powerful Camarilla gone from this place. But rest assured, they will get stronger. Numbers are flocking there. All that hard work we put into driving a wedge, getting the Bruja and the Gangrel kicked out, it's becoming undone before our eyes. Gentlemen, a wise man once told me, General, time to strike is not when you are ready. It is when your enemy is least ready. David, could you bring it in, please? Turns to the side, a young man, blonde, striking features, played by, who plays the knight? Jaime Lannister?
Oh, yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Nicholas something or other? Is that
Jaime fucking Lannister.
Jamie fucking Lannister.
Steps forward with both hands. And in his two hands, he's holding a large pelican case. Hard plastic. He sets it down on a table in the center of the room. Flicks a couple clasps. Throws open the top. Inside there's a device the audience has seen before. A sunlight device. Burke says, "This is something the First Light has cooked up. This particular one is inoperative. We have some people working on an enhanced version, going quite beyond the capabilities here. Gentlemen, it's time that we set Boston back on the right path. David, assemble your men, pack your bags. You're heading north."
The war is back on.
They're shipping up to Boston. Shipping up to Sabata, shipping up to Boston.
Is the Sabbat that just the South will rise again?
It's the Southern strategy.
The Southern vampires are very
So they're destined to lose again. That's cool.
Oh. Dan.
Yes, sir.
We'll start off with a memory of Quintus's. Not too long ago,
Okay.
after meeting with a woman outside of STEM Express, you started to walk home. Your footsteps echoing on the sidewalk, and then suddenly a second set of footsteps started to echo next to you. You turned to your side and you saw that Melanie was with you. She reaches out to hold your hand as you're walking.
Quintus looks at it for a second and then takes it.
She just walks with you quietly for a moment, kind of trying to put you at ease. And then she says, I'm sorry for everything that's happened to you.
He kind of stops and looks down at her. I'm different.
You are. There's something you need to know.
He sighs and he says, there are many things I need to know, Melanie, but I'm trying to find this cure so that I can...
You will. I've seen it. You'll find it.
Well, I need to do it quickly then, because...
You will. You'll find it before it's too late. I've seen it.
This is good.
That's not what I'm here to tell you. Leonidas is dead.
His eyes narrow.
The Ventru got to him.
What do you mean, the Ventru got to him?
They know that you were going to give him the cure, that you were going to give it to everyone. You may be in danger as well. Once they get it from you, I don't know what they're going to do to you.
Quintus turns and looks out at the city again, and he says, I am different now, Melanie. They don't have to take it from me.
You've chosen which side you're on. And she leaves.
Righty-roo. Quintus is... He looks kind of back to where Melanie was, sees her gone, and begins walking to Clark Biolabs.
Okay.
There's a door that's left open on the 18th floor. The offices it leads to is sort of a quiet outdoor patio that has a beautiful view of the city. And as we're looking at this patio, Quintus floats down until his feet touch the stone pavers. He looks back out, and there's the faintest glow on the horizon of the sun coming. He holds up a bandaged hand and pushes the door open, takes a left turn, then a brief walk along glass walls containing darkness and small, soft lights of science equipment and the low hum of machines in a lab. As he strides down the hall, his reflection changes. It's that of a woman dressed in the garb of early 1690s, and they both move forward with purpose. He swipes his key card. Somewhere else, a security system chimes an alert that someone has entered the lab. Quintus walks to his desk. The computer screen goes from black to bright white as he punches in the password. Then the screen becomes a chart, one that shows the population of virus cells in a blood sample. The historic data is there as well, each one saying 100% contamination. But this last one, the results blink slowly. 0.02%. All discernible traces of the virus are eliminated. Quintus stares at the result, and he's furious. He hears in his head a woman's voice. Vampires are temptation. They are the snake in Eden, beheading all kings. They are sin with no rhyme or reason. They are the father of lies. They live in every decision that catalyzes chaos. They cause division. They live inside death. They are the beginning of the end. Quintus brings his blood forth. He rips the lab station from the floor and hurls it across the room. He grabs a scalpel from a tray and cuts the symbol of fire into his forearms, and as the blood runs down his hands and drips to the floor, he finishes the incantation of the ritual. The symbols sear into his flesh. He opens his eyes, and they are burning. From outside the building, the 18th floor windows explode in a gout of fire.
Damn, son.
I got that backed up in the cloud.
Yeah. It's a good thing it's 2023, bitch.
I got a lot of names to cross off.
Busy night for our sheriff.
So, as the camera pans away from the building, which is turning into an inferno, and away from the street into the sky, we just see the skyline of Boston, the now dark Hancock Tower looming over the burning silhouette of the city. And that's where we'll end it.
Yikes,
All right.
Booyah.
We all lived.
We did so well.
I don't think Quintus lived.
Oh, well, okay. One of us went down.
Happily ever after. Thank you for listening to the Boston Masquerade on the Nastagram RPG podcast. Now we'd love to hear more from you. Find and follow us online. We are at Nastagram RPG on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/Nastagram, or the Nastagram RPG Lounge for our community on Facebook, r/Nastagram on Reddit, and at Nastagram 2053 on YouTube. Or just go to the website, NastaGramRPG.com, and you can link out to all those sites there. If you don't mess around with any of that social media bullshit, good on you. We'd still love to hear from you. Email us at nastagrampod@gmail.com. And finally, no matter what, we would beg, implore, and plead you to rate and review us, preferably at Apple Podcasts or whatever it is they call iTunes these days. And also just talk about us. Talk about us with your friends, anybody that you think would appreciate tabletop RPGs, or just telling good stories. Thanks again, and we will see you next Tuesday.
That's nasty.
Let's do one more short scene. Post-credit scene. A cell phone ring. Oh, hold on. Before we do this, John, you'll remember off the top of your head. What was the name of Lydia's ghoul?
Trevor.
Trevor.
Yeah.
A cell phone rings, and Trevor answers it. Just a moment, please. He brings the phone over to Lydia. She holds it to her ear. There's a bit of feedback, a little bit of static hum as the technology attempts to retreat from her.
Hello, my dear.
Did you get my gift?
I did. I did indeed. And, well, my dear David is on his way up there with a few friends. I was hoping you could host them and maybe tell them a little bit about some of the sights of the city up there that they might like to see. We'll, more of just a exploratory. We'll plan a future, more in-depth trip come the next season.
Trevor, we have company. Prepare a few coffins.
The camera pans back as Trevor takes the cell phone and walks away. Lydia exits the room, and scurrying across a beam is a possum, silently moving, sniffing the air. He turns and scurries out an open window.
Hell yes.
Johnny.
We got spies too.
We got spies on spies.
I think, Josh, you're just committed to running the next campaign.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
I mean, you clearly can't play in it. It can't be your characters fighting each other.
Yeah.
So, you're running it.
Fuck.
Maybe the sheriff is missing.
Ooh.
It'll just be an opportunity for all my NPCs to be cool. Oh, shit.
Damn.
Good
That was
stuff, Jake.
That's cool. On the stage at the center of the dance floor is Salvador. His skin sparkles as it reflects the stage light. He dances and sings.
Santiago.
Fuck.
No, it's cool.
Doing it again.
It's
All right.
cool because when I introduced him, I called him Salvador.
The posters all say
Fun
Salvador.
fact: Ethan does not know his name is Santiago somehow.
That'll be a B reel.